This video might come off as a rant, but trust me, it's going somewhere. We're gonna talk about the bigger thing that's actually unfolding with Halo and 343 over the past few years, why Halo's second chance is here in 2019, and why Halo is about to be king once more of gaming. Let's go ahead and get into it. Bonnie Ross founded 343 Industries in 2007, the year Halo 3 released, as in preparation for Bungie's departure from the series to work on Destiny. However, 343 didn't really take over the public scene until Halo 4 was announced. That's when people really started to acknowledge the studio. And with hindsight, there were red flags all over the place, especially with Halo 4's marketing. The studio had never worked on a full-on Halo game before. They even pointed this out in VidOx. And while people were beyond thrilled for the next Halo game, even getting many high reviews, its multiplayer left much to be desired. And so a couple years later, when the Master Chief Collection was coming to Xbox One in 2014, bundled with Halo 2 Anniversary's remastered campaign as well as remastered multiplayer, a few maps, the hashtag Halo is back became a huge thing, trending around the Halo community. Everyone was coming together for the first time in a long time, very excited for the return of Halo in its former days. Especially the return of Halo esports began too, and some called this Halo's second chance. Although, including the esports, everything just kind of fell apart. It was very embarrassing to all parties once the game finally released because there were countless issues at launch, but mostly the challenge for everybody, which irked me the most, was just not being able to find a match. The matchmaking servers were more or less broken, marking itself as perhaps one of the biggest and the worst video game launches in history. Now, this wasn't ever addressed the way that it should have been, not until 3 years later or so. 343 would explain on NeoGAF, a site that most of the Halo community doesn't even know about, why this happened in great detail, and their efforts to revive the bundle with the Xbox One X release. However, I would argue that the second biggest issue with 343 in their Halo games so far has actually nothing to do with the games itself, and everything to do with communication. 343 waited 3 years to explain what happened to MCC, which really it wasn't them being malicious or evil or just not caring about us. It turned out that they didn't foresee the issues and that they just didn't know how to fix it. And most people, well, they felt ripped off and angry and unheard and unappreciated. This damaged 343's rep a lot, and of course, Halo's by association. And later in 2015, Halo 5 Guardians released, and boy was it a mixed bag. In my opinion, Halo 5 was a good video game, but it was a bad Halo game. Halo 5's story, to put it simply, was a train wreck. It was overwhelming, and 75% of the game took us away from the Chief to follow the cardboard cutout Locke character with very unmemorable characters besides Buck. None of us were really interested in or related with any of these characters, and the multiplayer was very disappointing as well. Every map lacked, well, map control, a fundamental part of Halo gameplay, with a new arsenal of armor abilities, including sprint, something that was a fundamental choice that Bungie made back in the day that made Halo different than other FPS shooters like it, and this really corrupted the foundation of what Halo gameplay was. And even though literally every single FPS Halo game before Halo 5 had support for big team battles and vehicles, for some reason 343 thought that it was okay to cut that entirely from the game, so we would rely on forged maps that don't look nearly as good as baked maps that were developed by the studio. But these are all probably minor things compared to what the core issue was. What really alienated many fans from the franchise at this point was how many things they changed for no reason. And the things I'm about to list might be minor as well, but they add up, like the Arbiter's armor, the rocket launcher, the art style, the raw theme of the story. Everything about multiplayer and map control had to change for some reason. Their complete obsession with esports, even though it's like 10, maybe 5% of the community is competitive. I might be wrong about that, but generally speaking, a very small fraction of people that buy Halo games will be competitive. Everything about Halo 5 was competitive. And not only that, there were wrecks thrown in, something that could be seen as a very casual player thing. I don't know about you guys, but when I got into Halo 5, I could tell that the game, well, the development was very confused, and they really had no idea what they were doing. Half the campaign was just fan service, and the other half was multiplayer that was appealing to one side of the community and not the other completely. Almost every aspect about Halo had changed with Halo 5. The visuals, the story, theme, the narrative, emotional values, the gameplay, the weapon skins, the microtransactions, the music, characters, and so on. And it's no wonder why so many people here in the Halo community feel unheard and unappreciated up until now. So this video is starting to come off as another rant. I'm setting things up, so get this. 343 Industries may have made a lot of mistakes down the road, alright? How could they not have? And surely, if you've been watching HaloFollowers videos for some time, you will see that I am never afraid to point that out. You guys are my priority, the people that watch HaloFollower, not being liked by 343 or others, so I'm gonna be brutally honest when it comes to these things. But despite all this, I wonder now if all those mistakes have been worth making. After all, 343 Industries almost always makes their biggest mistakes in their next Halo game or two their biggest priorities to get right, and so far they've been pretty successful. They've made some incredible feats. For example, Halo Force Forge, it was outsourced and it was terrible, and in Halo 5 it was goddamn amazing. They turned that ship around, and in Halo 4's story it was pretty good, so they never learned the criticism on how to make a bad Halo story, in which they learned with Halo 5 Guardians. They went way too far with making the story complicated. You could argue that Halo 4's story was a little bit too complicated for people that didn't know the Forerunner books and the legacy behind the Foreigners and so on. And I think that is why Halo Infinite's story will take us back to the roots. They've already implied that they want people to pick up Halo Infinite and already be in tune with the story, unlike Halo 4 or 5. And Halo MCC taught them the importance of betas and flights and fan feedback. Now, I could go on, but I think you get the picture. It's easy to say that 343 messed up and they're terrible and it should never be forgiven or forgotten, but isn't it true that often in your own life that mistakes kind of unfold into some amazing manifestations later? Like, thank God I learned that terrible thing, otherwise I wouldn't have this or that in my life. Couldn't we apply the same thing here? Could perhaps some of 343's biggest mistakes turn into the biggest blessings, as if they're seeds now being planted and growing into magnificent trees, fruitful trees, for us to now enjoy, now that the bad is over, more or less. Some people claim that Halo MCC was 343's big second chance and that they failed at that. But maybe Halo 5 was their second chance, or maybe this or that was their second chance. Well, I'm saying right now, this is their God-honest second chance. Year 2019 is their big opportunity to make things right. And the reason why I say that is their efforts are actually reviving the Halo community. It might not be necessarily their second chance, because they've had many chances, but it's their second big opportunity. And I say that because what they're doing is working. So how is it working, Ron? Where is the evidence? Well, look at the Halo community overall. Look at the increased activity. Look at the discussions. Look at the projects, Project Contingency, Installation 01. Look at these revival projects. There is still community, and now they are repeating to it. Look at the views on Halo YouTube videos, all right? Now, I don't know what this video is doing, how good it's doing, but my views have been very high, and out of nowhere. I mean, this is unheard of. I've been doing this for almost 8 years now, and the views here are just crazy lately. And so what are they doing that's making this happen, all right? Obviously, they're listening. That's the root of it. And in all honesty, I really don't think 99% of Halo fans care at all about any company's legacy. We don't care about your legacy. Besides, 343 kind of damaged their legacy, their rep, by all their mistakes anyway. So 343, why not throw that away? Throw away the attempt to have a legacy, that this old image in your minds, and bring about their true legacy, their awesome one, the one where they're the studio that actually listens and brings back classic Halo, alright? Their need to change and fix what doesn't need to be changed or fixed, and throwing that away and then actually listening to the community and executing in a way that is original, creative, and awesome. And perhaps, ironically, that is what will create 343's legacy to be really a redeeming and awesome legacy. Let me circle back real quick. Is it actually a mistake if you learn from it? Now, it may be unfortunate, the nature of these things, where 343 had to fuck up and make mistakes and have bad launches in order to make Halo as best as it can possibly be, to live up to its potential. Does a game in a huge studio and a huge corporation like Microsoft and 343 have to be rushed for them to understand the value and the monetization potential of having a game that is developed thoroughly and launched successfully? Perhaps. But now that that is out of the way, maybe we can see the results, the pain that we went through, come out as blessings in Halo Infinite. The classic armor, the art style, the music, the things that make Halo Halo coming back. I believe Halo Infinite marks the return of Halo, if not already, just the general atmosphere of things right now, because they're doing the opposite of what they did with the previous titles. They're listening to us, they're reaching out to us, they're taking a risk by listening to the community instead of just doing what their internal teams think is the right thing to do. I would say that's a risk. They're returning to the root themes, the narrative, the art style, the characters, also confirmed as a spiritual reboot. I mean, they're really listening, they're going back to the drawing board, but this time with so much more experience and engaging with Halo fans. Also, let's not forget the iconic tournament scene, mod support, any potential for crossplay with Xbox players via PC, just blowing up the Halo community even more and tying it all back together. Instead of leaving MCC broken, 343 circled around, started up flights, betas, and feedback programs, and eventually would bring about Halo MCC to PC, Reach, Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and ODST. A time where the masses feel unheard and unappreciated is waning and coming to a halt, and a new era of Halo is blossoming, I would say. Halo's Master Chief Collection coming onto PC, as well as Halo Infinite likely releasing next year in 2020, marks a massive return for the franchise. MCC is a massive bundle of over a decade of iconic games to millions of fans, alright? And that is about to release on the single largest and most accessible video game marketplace in the world, that being Steam. It's MCC's second release, their second chance to launch it right this time, and that is pretty much guaranteed going to happen because they're doing flights and tests and all the betas that they need to be doing, as well as getting feedback, all on a platform with much more potential than Xbox. And they're making some considerable efforts to make sure that it works well. Not only that, but MCC on PC doesn't carry restrictions of having to use an Xbox controller or deal with their batteries or Xbox Live and so on. Mods, community, forums, more videos, etc. The community is already actively responding to these things coming. You know that quote, "There's two sides to every story"? Well, personally, I believe every event has some good things about it and some bad things about it. You can't have good without bad, and you can't have bad without good. And every time 343 Industries screwed up, they learned a lesson that they're not going to soon forget. Wouldn't it be funny that the things that we love about Halo Infinite would be only possible because MCC and Halo 4 and Halo 5 had mistakes? The game is very likely going to run smoothly, alright? The multiplayer is going to likely be fine-tuned, the Forge will likely be amazing, and the story will probably be freaking mind-blowing. As each title out of MCC releases on PC, the game is going to run smoothly. It's been tested to do so. They are taking precautions, they're doing the flights, they're listening, and 343 is evolving. And this is why the studio is worthy of holding Halo's mantle. And yes, they've made a lot of problems, but damn it, are they listening? This is why you should be thrilled for the future of Halo. Of course, there's going to be more mistakes. Plenty more, maybe some big ones, and of course drama along the way, but the Halo community is a very comfortable place to be in right now in the gaming world. Halo has a chance at not only revival, but a larger comeback than ever before. I'm not dismissing the competitive community, but 343 has got to come to a balance and please both sides between the modern and classic players. Support both big team and social players versus the squad and competitive aspects. They must listen to both sides and execute it proportionally in the game and stop trying to change things that don't need to be changed. They must listen to both sides and execute it proportionally to the game and stop trying to change things that don't need to be changed. If you're going to hire an esports team to help you with development of Halo Infinite every day, then you need need to hire the same amount of people just as passionate about the casual side of Halo gameplay. They obviously have had the mindset of, we need to fix and change and evolve Halo and to make it better. And why that seems like a promising one, that's what we've gotten so far, based off that mindset, I think anyway. And now I think their mindset is turning to, we need to respect the universe, we need to go back to the basics, and we need to balance the game. Almost everything the Halo community has hoped for Halo 4 to end up being is almost exactly what we ask for Halo Infinite today. Alright, we ask for Flood, we want the Arbiter to be a part of the game again, we want classic gameplay, and we still haven't got that up until probably Halo Infinite. And sure, there are millions of Halo fans with their own unique idea of what is iconic or modern or what's good and bad and so on, and making any decision at all, 343 will be met with resistance. Nature's built that way, but they have to make a balance, and they have to get into the shoes of a Halo player that likes Halo, that loves Halo, that wants to be a part of the community, that wants Halo to improve and evolve, but also for the universe to be balanced and to be respected, and for us to be heard and appreciated. And only then will Halo explode in a good way. So guys, do you think Halo is on its way to its former glory days? Do you think Halo is dead or not dead? Do you think 343 will make the same mistakes in the future, or do you think they will learn from them and express that maybe in Halo Infinite? Let me know your thoughts about all this down in the comment section below. We talked about a lot of different things today, but if you have anything to add, please, or if you disagree or agree, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to subscribe. Peace.